Hello, everybody. Here we are today with a very special woman. Her name is Colleen Coles, and she's a purpose alignment coach and a spiritual healer. Hi, good morning. How are you
Hi,
today?
good morning, Chanel. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. So, tell me a little bit more about yourself. Who is Colleen Coles, and what is your purpose?
Sure. Thanks for asking. Colleen Coles is a woman here on planet Earth. And my title in what I do for people, I'm a purpose alignment coach and spiritual healer, a mentor, meaning I just help entrepreneurs, professionals get into touch with their truest authentic expression, with their soul, so that from that place and healing any trauma or blocks in the way of that expression, they can go make a difference in the world in a meaningful way to them. Um, Being their authentic self, coming up in relationships in that authenticity, yeah, to really make a difference and heal in a spiritual aligned way. So,
That's pretty interesting. So, can you explain a little bit further what it means to be a spiritual alignment coach?
yeah, yeah. So, what that means is I help people get really come to their work in the world in a way that feels like it gives them life, like they know their purpose, like they want to make a difference, but not through ways that other people told them. Or if they're transitioning from an old career that maybe lit them up in a certain way, but now isn't, I help them make that transition. So whether it's kind of a 9 to 5 job that they prepared their life for and then aren't feeling lit up by anymore and want to make something new but just don't know what, or maybe they're fully in alignment with their purpose of making a difference, making an impact, but know that it's time to grow, or they want to really live that out, but not in such a like dictated or ego driven way, or in a fake way to them. They want to be fully true to their heart at this point, which only helps their relationships as well. So I help them get tuned into themselves and heal anything in the way that would make them feel like they have to be perfect or they have to show up in a way that's not really them, so that they can go make the biggest difference they're here to make and be themselves in the process. So for me, that looked like I was an elementary school teacher. I had studied prep for that. I knew that that's something I wanted in my life. But once I became a teacher, I just really, I wasn't lit up by it. People told me I was really good at it, but I just didn't love it. And so it was a journey, but I found some specific ways in which I was able to transition out of that in a way that was joyful, was fun, and actually lent itself to me discovering coaching, life coaching, and then purpose alignment coaching, which more specifically helps people get aligned with their purpose and doing it in an intuitive, guided way. So that's why I do what I do now, just because I've lived it. I've lived it where we come to different places of thinking we have it, we know what we're doing, and then boom, there's a next level or something that we just don't know how to manage on our own. And that's when we can go a little deeper within and see just what our guidance has for us and what our soul truly desires at this next level, so that, yeah, we can feel free to be ourselves and make a difference in the process.
It's funny that, or not funny, it's curious what you're talking about because I feel that nowadays it's harder than ever to find that purpose. The moments that we're living right now are super hard. I feel like young people are struggling even more to find their path or know what's their next step just because of everything that the world is going through. So, on a spiritual level or on the spiritual aspect, what is happening with the world?
Yeah, great question, great conversation. So I would say, so what's really going on, and the basis I want to share, which can be hard to swallow sometimes, but this is all not happening to you, it's happening for you. It's not all happening to us, it's happening for us. And when I take a bigger objective zoom out. Spiritually speaking, in order to grow, we have to shift and change. And that can look like an earthquake. That can look like an earthquake in our life, in our world, and at society at large. You know, as this time of our having this conversation and recording, you know, Black Lives Matter is super up right now. COVID-19, super up. And to me, when I take a higher perspective, I don't get so lost in the muck of it all. I don't get so lost in the fear of it all. Because in truth, this is, to me, the world, the life, the universe expanding through this muck. Because this is the truth. And this is the truth for all of us. Whatever fears we have or shadows we have in the background, old patterns and habits that keep us stuck, all of that stuff, whether you're admitting it or not, is going on in your subconscious mind. It's happening energetically in your body, and it's keeping you going towards disease even, or feeling like rigid. You know, when I get really stressed, my shoulder just hurts so bad. But through my process of looking at it and allowing it to speak to me rather than me pushing it away, I learned that's just old memories, old programmings of like me feeling this one moment being dropped off and not being picked up. Like such a simple moment, but as a child, that had me think like, oh, I don't deserve to be seen. I don't deserve to be picked up. We all have these tiny micro moments of what I would call trauma, and they're stored in our body. And so that is in there. And if I don't listen to that, which I think is kind of that old way of working, then it's still going to be going on in the process. And I'm going to tie this to what's going on in our bigger world context in just a second. So instead, if we actually listen to like those hurts and those body pieces and get vulnerable and open up, then we can actually hear what's going on down there. And through seeing it, shift it and let it go. And then I can show up, for example, in my business and authentically have a conversation with you and perhaps inspire somebody way more to actually shift than if I were trying to ignore what my body is telling me. So similarly, in this grander context, and does that make sense before I continue? Just making sure that that lands.
Yes, I think it's tied to our next question, which would be, what recommendations would you give for people to deal with nowadays challenges?
Yes, absolutely. So nowadays challenges in a world way of looking at it, you know, COVID and racial justice is so up. And all of this sickness or unhealth and then prejudices and injustice are all there beneath the surface. And so when we allow them to come up and be seen, they're already starting to heal. And so how can we navigate these times when we're so unsure? This is what I would recommend. I'd recommend really listening to your body. So that can be really hard for us entrepreneurs or empowered professional women because we were taught to stand strong. But I'm going to say that was taught to us in a masculine world, in a masculine perspective. And so as women, we're always going to be less than, honestly, if we're always comparing ourselves as working towards men. But men have a totally different hormonal cycle, level of working where it's just more of a straight line. We work in cycles. And oh, by the way, that's also how the universe works. The moon, the seasons, the cosmology of our galaxies twisting into cycle. We are so tuned in, and actually that's where our power comes from. It just takes tuning into that power and surrendering just a little bit so that all that gunk that's stored can be released. And as Kate Northrup says, who is a great author, she wrote Do Less, says, you might not have as many harvests, whatever a harvest is to you, accomplishments, wins, praise, but the ones that you have will be more plentiful because you're in the flow and you're not taxing your body.